The Maine Business Show is proudly presented by Poland Spring.
At Poland Spring, we've called Maine home since 1845 and are proud to be part of the community. Over the past 2 decades, investing more than $12 million in the place that we call home. Poland Spring, 100% natural spring water.
This week on the Maine Business Show, we're hosted by a third-generation Maine business, Mugalian Rugs. We'll meet 2 biomedical engineers who've invented what may be the best thing for your skin, and we'll visit the brand new Dunstan Smokehouse Company in Scarborough, talk economic development in Westbrook, and look at how the nonprofit arts contribute to local economies. And we'll see what the new leader of Mascoma Bank has in store. Join us for the Maine Business Show. Welcome to the Maine Business Show. I'm your host, Quincy Hentzel. Today we begin our show at a renowned third-generation family business based in Portland, Mugalian Rugs, and we're joined by Brett Mugalian, grandson of the founder, Robert Mugalian. Brett, thank you so much for joining us today and inviting us into your beautiful space.
Thank you very much. Thanks for coming to the showroom.
So Mugalian Rugs was started in the 70s by your grandfather.
So my grandfather's uncle was actually the first rug store in Portland, and my grandfather worked for my uncle for a long time. Got out of the business for probably 10 years or so, bought a farmhouse out in Buxton, started the next showroom in the house in Buxton, and they did that there for about 14 years, and in 1988 they built their first building in Scarborough, and we were there for 30 years, and we just moved to Portland about 6.5 years ago.
Going back the last few years, the pandemic, that had some pretty significant implications for a lot of businesses, and a lot of businesses struggled. However, also during the pandemic, people turned to home improvement. So how did that impact your business?
You know, in the beginning, it was scary because we weren't able to be open as a retail store it was close to 4 months. And all of a sudden, when we were able to open again, as soon as we turned the lights on and unlocked the door, it started to boom. And it's been a great 3 years.
So you didn't just survive the pandemic, you seem to be thriving. So what's next for Mugalian Rugs?
I think really the next step for us is to really keep growing our cleaning business. We specialize in cleaning handmade area rugs. So I think that's a big step. And then you never know, there might be a second location coming at some point.
Well, it's been great to get to know a little bit more about Mugalian Rugs, which is a fantastic Maine family business. And again, thank you for inviting us into your beautiful space. It's just stunning.
Yeah, thank you very much. Come back anytime.
Maine is home to many legacy businesses like Mugalian Rugs. It's also home to new and innovative startups, such as the exciting new manufacturer Marin Skincare. Developed by 2 biomedical engineering graduate students at the University of Maine, Marin's soothing hydration cream targets all types of dry, damaged, and upset skin conditions. And today we are joined by the founders of Marin, Patrick and Amber. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Now, both of you are graduates of UMaine in biomedical engineering, and now you have found yourselves as entrepreneurs in Maine. Thank you for staying. Tell me a little bit about how that feels.
It's really an amazing feeling to be able to help tens of thousands of people with a problem that I struggled with personally for so long.
Not only that, we're able to take something that is going down the drain in existing lobster processors and upcycle it into something that's radically impacting people's lives and putting dollars back into fishermen's pockets.
So your product is so Maine. You make your product with something called glycoproteins, which is found in lobster. Tell me a little bit about that.
So Marin really started with my own skin struggles. I had eczema for most of my life, and I was one of the people who had tried everything from steroids to lotions, and nothing worked for me. And my eczema got to its worst when we were in college at UMaine.
We were working with a lobster scientist who was researching a protein found in lobster that allows them to pop off and regenerate limbs, heal wounds, fight off disease. And it turns out the literature showed that in the same way it does that, it could help repair the skin barrier. So after a little bit of science, a little bit of convincing Amber, we used a DIY glycoprotein-infused skincare product on her eczema.
And I felt a difference within 2 days. And after 2 weeks, my eczema that I had had for years was just completely gone, and it changed my life.
That's amazing. You are truly going to change lives of people who have been suffering from the same conditions. So you've developed such a wonderful Maine-based brand, and in spring of 2023, you actually launched in probably one of the most iconic Maine brands, LL Bean. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, we're incredibly grateful to have launched with LL Bean. It was a very entrepreneurial story to get in there. We also recently launched with Sea Bags. And we're really looking at this brand as taking it to mass market for dry, damaged skin. So looking at Target, Ulta, CVS as target retailers, but never forgetting our roots. So the LL Bean, the Sea Bags, and the Lisa Marie's Made in Maine.
I love how you are already working so collaboratively with other beloved Maine brands. So what do you envision next? What are you thinking about in the future, and are there other products on the horizon?
The Soothing Hydration Cream is really just the beginning of the applications that glycoproteins have. It's great for use all over the body, but we're really excited to develop products for the scalp and the lips, which we'll be launching shortly.
It's so great to have you and your company in Maine, and you also source the necessary glycoprotein here in Maine. You have a really great partnership with Luke's Lobster. Can you talk a little bit about how that works?
We have an amazing relationship with Luke Holden, Luke's Lobster, and everyone on the team. We're actually able to collect the glycoproteins as a natural byproduct of their operation, which would otherwise go down the drain. And we built a lab in our warehouse in Portland to upcycle them, doing a little protein purification into the clean skincare ingredient that we now use to help others. So Luke's been there for us day one. We were in the processor 5 a.m. to 3 p.m. for many months, collecting these, building processes, QC, SOPs, to make sure that we're actually able to build this new supply chain, and it scales as we scale.
Luke's Lobster, another great Maine brand. So you are manufacturing your product in Maine, you are getting all of the ingredients for your product in Maine. What does your business look like? At this point, how many employees do you have, and what are you anticipating in the next year to 3 years?
Well, we have a 3,000 square foot office and warehouse located in Portland near Allagash, and 6 people on the team right now. That will probably double by the end of the year.
Patrick and Amber, it's been so great to have you on the show. Thank you for bringing Marin skincare and your story to the Maine Business Show. I've been using your product and I absolutely love it. So we will have you back soon. Still ahead, the entrepreneurial spirit is bringing an artisan touch to a Scarborough-based seafood enterprise. Welcome back to the Maine Business Show. Some of the freshest Maine seafood is found at a small shop in Scarborough, Pine Tree Seafood. With its ever-growing online business, owner Jim Hartley decided to expand its offerings. There are no mirrors, but there's a lot of smoke.
I'm Jim Hartley. I'm the owner-operator of Pine Tree Seafood and Produce Company in Scarborough, Maine. We sell fresh fish, live lobster, other seafood items. We try to source those items from right here in Maine so that we are able to give a forum to some of the other small businesses here. So we have pies and pastries from Two Fat Cats Bakery in Portland, gourmet salsa from Galaxy Salsa in Buxton, a number of other things. And that was sort of how we wanted the store to appear when we first opened. So it was sort of like a co-op where other food producers would get some visibility, get their stuff on people's shelves. The seafood that's probably the biggest seller here is definitely lobster, year-round. We sell it live, we cook it for no additional charge. We pick a lot of meat here every day, so we sell pounds and pounds of picked meat, all hand-picked, fresh. Haddock is definitely a local favorite. We have a number of other types of fish as well. So we sell premium salmon, Atlantic salmon, swordfish, tuna, halibut, Arctic char, scallops, steamer clams, mussels, and oysters. Oysters are very popular right now. All of our oysters come from farms here in Maine and in Canada, Prince Edward Island and Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, all delicious, briny, sweet, and fresh. We opened the store in September of 2012, right after the summer had ended. Perfect timing, behind the 8 ball right at the beginning. Some of the challenges of starting a brand new business was just getting word that we were here, out to the folks here in the town. I think a lot of people have their established roots. Getting the word out was definitely a challenge. It was a brand new business, so there wasn't a whole lot of money for marketing at the beginning. But Scarborough's a great town. We moved here because we love the school system. Our neighbors have been incredibly welcoming to us, so we like it here a lot.
The one thing that Jim demanded from the beginning was quality of products, and he has been able to sustain that at an amazing level. And as he has expanded things, and especially going into the new smokehouse, it's been a wonderful joy to watch him operate and be in charge of the growth of the company.
The products that we sell, we choose premium products. Not all of them are here from Maine. Atlantic salmon is sourced from the Faroe Islands or from Scotland, but it's a little bit more expensive, but we feel good selling that. It's sustainably raised or harvested, organic when possible. So it's an expensive product, highly perishable. So we feed it to our family. We want to have the best for everyone else's family as well.
Anyone who works in the nonprofit arts will tell you that not only do the arts deserve a seat at the business table, but they also bring a lot to the table. Portland Ovations is a presenting nonprofit that has been bringing live performance to stages in and around Southern Maine since 1931. Joining us to talk more about the business of the arts is the executive and artistic director of Portland Ovations, Amy Petrin. Amy, it is an honor to have you here today, and I will say I have had the great privilege of being able to witness so many of the live performances that you have brought to our community through Portland Ovations. So for that, I thank you.
Well, thank you for being in the audience, because that is the number one thing. It wouldn't happen if we didn't have an audience.
So you have spent your entire life in the arts, and I'm curious if you have noticed a change in attitude amongst people around what the arts can and actually do contribute to the economy.
Definitely, and I think a lot of that comes from the fact that we now have really great stats to back it up. For a long time, it was more just a anecdotal, oh, we're great, it's wonderful, but now that we have the stats that we do, I mean, Maine alone has an incredible arts and cultural sector. So I know the most recent year stats that we have available to us says that there's 1.55 billion contributed to the economy. So that's real, that's a business. This is not a hobby that we're all in. It's about 2.5 of the GDP. So I think when you can look at the numbers, you really understand that this is for sure a business.
I think that's true with a lot of nonprofits, which many of the art organizations are nonprofits. Nonprofits are businesses.
It's just the way the tax structure is set up. It does not mean we're not a business. It does not mean that we're not trying to be doing good business and smart business. It just means that our dollars are not going back to shareholders.
Now, Portland Ovations' reach extends well beyond the stage, correct?
Yes. We are in classrooms, we are in churches, we're in community centers, we partner with other nonprofits, others in the business sector. I think that's where it gets really exciting too, is that whenever the arts are in a cross-sector relationship with businesses or educational systems, a lot can happen, and the power and the impact is even deeper.
Amy, thank you so much for being here today, and continue doing what you're doing, because it is such a wonderful benefit and highlight of our community. So I hope you come back and visit us on the Maine Business Show.
I sure will. Thanks, Quincy.
Mascoma Bank, a certified B Corporation with 28 branches throughout northern New England, has a relatively new Maine market leader, Andrew Cook.
Hi everyone, I'm Andrew Cook, Maine market leader with Mascoma Bank, and we are thrilled to be here in Portland. Mascoma Bank is a certified B Corporation. We're one of less than 10 banks that are certified B Corporations around the country. And we offer a variety of services from commercial lending to wealth and private banking, residential lending, and we also have Mascoma Community Development, which is a CDE that does our tax credit financing. So the bank was founded in 1899. We're coming up on our 125th anniversary. The bank expanded into Burlington about 10 years ago, and strategically, Portland was the next market we identified. We operate now in Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. We're headquartered in New Hampshire, and we're just under $3 billion in assets. Our core principles are doing business for the greater good. So as a B Corp, it's integral to us to be good corporate partners. Since coming to Maine in late 2018, we've donated over $250,000 back into the community. And as a bank, we earmark 10% of our net income on an annual basis to be used for philanthropic initiatives. I grew up in Westbrook. I'm a Mainer through and through. Actually, the entire team that we have here in Maine is Mainers, born and raised. And we just know it's a great place to live. You have the mountains if you like to ski, you have the ocean if you like to sail and swim, and it just offers a variety of things that we as Mainers truly love. At the bank, we have a very experienced team that's all Mainers. Ryan Bishop is a recent hire who heads up Mascoma Community Development. We have Kaylee Deering, who does residential lending for the bank, Dave Carter, who's a private banker and wealth management officer, Amberlyn Esperanza, who's a commercial lender, Kelly Dorsey, who does all our treasury management. As a team, very experienced team with a lot of knowledge and know-how to help provide solutions for clients. For the future of the bank, we're really embracing technology. We see technology as an avenue to provide solutions for clients into the future. The industry is going that way, and that is critically important to us. For the economy, we've seen a lot of just success recently within the local economy, with developers coming from out of state, businesses looking to relocate. And just growing up here, I have the sense that we're on a track for the next couple decades of continued success in the business scene in Portland. You've learned a little bit about Mascoma Bank and why we love helping businesses grow. But equally as important is our commitment to the community. One of the nonprofits we support is Big Brothers Big Sisters of Southern Maine. Coming up, we will introduce you to their important work and ways you can get involved. Stay tuned.
Maine has a rich business history, from forest and farm products to seafood to manufacturing everything from paper to shoes to textiles. And each week, the Maine Historical Society and their Maine Memory Network partners help us look back at the historic engines of Maine's economy. For instance, did you know that Maine was once home to a major supplier of silk thread? Haskell Silk Company, based in Westbrook, manufactured industrial silk for 58 years. Founded in 1874 by James Haskell, the company was the first and only silk manufacturer in Maine. In the mill's early years, it relied on locally grown silk from farmers who kept silkworms. But as mechanization grew, the mill needed more silk than could be produced locally, and so began importing Japanese raw silk. The Haskell mill began as a thread mill, but in 1882 switched to weaving and finished fabric. Haskell expanded the mill and has had as many as 20 looms operating. In 1901, Haskell built a new, fully state-of-the-art mill powered by electricity. It had 250 looms and employed 300 workers. Haskell Silk Company was a prosperous part of the American silk industry until early in the Great Depression, when multiple factors led not only to the decline of the entire industry, but also to the Haskell Mill. The Haskell Mill closed in 1930. Each week on the Maine Business Show, we interview a business leader from Maine. And this week we have joining us the mayor of Westbrook, Michael Foley. Michael, thanks for joining us today.
Yes, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So we've just heard a little bit about Westbrook's past, and now looking to today, the change and the growth that this community has faced is incredible. Can you talk a little bit about the thought and the planning that went into bringing Westbrook to what it is today?
Much of the growth began in the late 90s when the Sappy Mill, another mill in the community, ended some of its pulping operations. And the community began to plan for future economic growth, both in our industrial parks as well in our downtown. And at the same time, naturally, residential growth began to occur because Westbrook became a more desirable place to live, work, and play.
So speaking of economic growth, let's talk for a minute about Rock Row, which is a pretty incredible mixed-use development that is being built from the ground up. So how are you working with Rock Row, but also maintaining a balance and a vibrancy with downtown Westbrook?
We're really excited about that project, but at the same time, it was important to me when I became the mayor to continue the focus on our downtown. So our downtown would not be cannibalized by a project like Rock Row, similar to what the Maine Mall did to the Old Port and downtowns in the area. So we're excited that our downtown development has grown at the same time as Rock Row, so we can have all ships rising together.
Another really interesting company that is coming to Westbrook is Vertical Harvest. Can you talk a little bit about that business model?
Yeah, that project has been innovative to our downtown growth and development. And the Vertical Harvest project, which is a indoor greenhouse that's going to be growing microgreens, has been coming here from Wyoming, where they kind of refined their product and they're looking to locate projects all over the United States. This will be their flagship project here in Westbrook. And we've encompassed that in our downtown with a parking garage and some future residential growth and development that will really help to create Westbrook as a destination for people to come and to conduct business.
So with all that's going on, what is exciting you the most?
It's so exciting to see the growth happening in our downtown, because at one time the downtown was really active in past history, and then it was negatively affected through urban renewal. And we hope to be able to re-resurrect some of the multi-story buildings and exciting things that are happening in our downtown and was happening in downtown pre-urban renewal.
Michael, it has been so great to have you on our show. I want to thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you again.
Thank you for your leadership in Westbrook. This is pretty spectacular.
It's exciting to be part of it and honored to be part of it. Thank you.
Water connects us all. As a company that relies on nature, we take responsibility to help conserve it. Our team of experts sustainably source water from carefully selected springs, monitored and managed to help support Maine's future, continuing the legacy of one of Maine's oldest brands for this generation and those to come. Poland Spring, 100% natural spring water.
Welcome back. I'm Andrew Cook, Maine Market Leader with Mascoma Bank, and we're on location in Westbrook with Nicole Avery, Executive Director of Big Brothers Big Sisters of Southern Maine.
We make meaningful matches between adults and children, 7 to 17, across Cumberland and York counties. We continue to stay connected to that match throughout the life of the match. So we stay connected with the parent guardian, with the mentee, and with the mentor, getting in touch with them, making sure that everything is going okay. So we really support that match as long as they are together. Mentoring is not new in the business world, and the model works so well with youth as well. And we cannot survive without volunteers. And so, you know, when you think about a mentor getting connected with a youth, what an impact they can have on that child or that teen's life. And it might just be playing basketball, or it might be taking a hike. It may not seem like there's a lot of amazing things happening there, but that child's confidence may be building, or the mentor may be talking about their experience in college, and that child may never have ever considered themselves going to college. So it is planting little seeds all along, and that is what happens. It's really amazing when you see it over the course of the lifetime of that. Mascoma Bank is a great partner of ours, and Andrew Cook's on our board. He's a longtime board member. So we're really fortunate to have some amazing corporate partners, and we really depend on them for a lot of reasons, not only for their corporate financial support, but also for their volunteers. You know, we are always eager to go in and talk to employee groups to say, hey, who'd like to volunteer? So that's one of the best ways for us to get the word out. Corporations are some of our best friends and best partners in a lot of different ways, and Mascoma is just one great example of that. Our big goal is to empower every child to graduate with a plan for their life and a mentor whose influence lasts a lifetime. It is a pretty rigorous vetting process, as you can imagine, as it should be, but really all it takes to be a good mentor is a big heart, a little bit of time, and a willingness to spend some time with a kid or a teen and to care. I have yet to meet a mentor that hasn't said to me, I think I get more out of it than my mentee does. And speaking as a mentor myself, I can absolutely agree that it is just an amazing experience, and I encourage anybody who has considered it, don't wait. Take that first step today. We need volunteers, we need mentors, especially men. We have a lot of boys right now on our waiting list, and we need men to volunteer, and you will not regret it. So if I've convinced you today to take that first step, you can go to our website at somebigs.org and start filling out your application. And if you live outside of Cumberland or York counties, turn to Big Brothers Big Sisters of Bath Brunswick or Mid-Maine and take that first step with them.
That's it for this week's edition of the Maine Business Show. Our thanks once again to Mugalian Rugs for hosting us and to all of our guests. We hope you learned something new about Maine business and that you'll join us again next week. I'm Quincy Hentzel. See you next time.